Hey everybody, it's Alex over at Jet Lending. And today, as promised, we're going to go over how to comp investment real estate and really any real estate. So we're going to go over some of the kind of keys concepts of what to look for when you're comping properties. Now, I'm going to be on MLS, okay, but some of you guys may not have MLS, but the concepts are still sound for anything that you're using. You just may not have the depth of data that we're looking at when you're looking at real estate. But let's say you have a paid subscription somewhere of one of the investment sites, or let's say you don't have anything and you're starting out and you're trying to use like Realtor.com and stuff like that. And you're trying to look at some of the sold properties in your area. This still, even though that's not going to be your best mode, this is still going to be some key concepts on how do you analyze investment real estate, just like on the couple of videos we did. So you can do the math, so you can figure out how much can you buy it for how much profit you need to make. So let me show you something here. Here we go. All right, so here is MLS, and I'm going to show you how you look at this and comp some properties here. Right here. So let's say we're going to pull this one property up, and it's in Spring. So you can look at here, for those of you guys who've never seen like a tax roll like this. So this is what's called a realist, or just some key concepts of what your property is. So you look at what subdivision. Very important, especially for my landlords and flippers. Look at the school district. All right, school district may not really change your value so much, but it's definitely going to change sometimes your days on market when you're trying to sell or refinance. Good school district, you're going to sell that pretty quickly or rent it pretty quickly. Bad school district, you may have some issues there. So always take a look at that. So this subdivision is called Spring Oaks. You can kind of look at that. A lot of people are like, well, the tax roll says this. All right, so I want you guys to remember something. I want you to remember these numbers here. I want you to see if our comp comes out to 197,390. Okay, so let's see if that's accurate. Take a look. Next thing we'll look at, building square footage, 2652. I want to keep in 20% of that number. So 2652 times 0.2 equals 530 square feet plus or minus. So 2652. I'm going to look at 2,100 square foot properties to 2652 plus 2652 to 3,200 square foot properties. So 21 to 3,200 square feet is my comparable range. Okay, so let's take a look. First, I'm going to make sure I look at all my actives, my options, my pending continue to show, my sold. I like to look at a year. I like to trend 12 months. Your appraisers are going to use 6 months, but I still want to see what's going on in a year. Is the property, values going up? Are they going down? Is it stagnant? Is there a lot of actives? Is there not a lot of actives? All that matters when we're calculating this stuff, okay? First thing I'll do is, do it the old way for you first. There are some key concepts that you have to look at when you're doing comping on MLS. I'm going to look at the subdivision section, if there is a section, the subdivision in its whole, a polygon of landmarks and major streets, the street year history and the street full history. The street history is going to be very important when you're on a major street. If you're like on Ella, TC Jester, anything where there's major traffic. I mean, if you're on where there's even a road where it's one way each direction and it's divided by a median, those homes are going to be worth statistically less than the ones that are 5 houses in the subdivision, usually about 20 to 25% less than on the subdivision. So be careful on your major streets. But let's take our property was in Spring Oaks. So first I'm going to take a look at Spring Oaks. Spring Oaks. And then it was 77386. I put the zip code in just in case there is not a lot of let's say there's a couple different Spring Oaks in the area, just to be thorough. So look at my map, and I can see that Spring Oaks has 3 properties, okay? 335, 262, so, you can get your criteria and your results, and you put them off to the side. The next thing I would do in this subdivision for a reason. There's no section here. So if I moved over to my polygon, I wanted to show you the difference. And there's a reason for this, 26203. That's why I moved to the polygon more than the subdivision. Oakhurst Drive. There it is. Okay. Look at all those properties in this area. So some major streets and landmarks here are right here in Oak Ridge North, down Hannah, all the way up 45. That's way more than 3 properties, okay? So that tells me that there's probably multiple subdivisions in this area. These homes could be comparable to mine, though they're in a different subdivision. So not always can you use the rule of subdivisions in just doing your comps. That's why I like to use a polygon of major streets and landmarks. I don't like to cross major highways or streets. I like to try to keep in, like I can say that this side of Oak Ridge North will be different than this side of Oak Ridge North on Robinson, and I can even prove it, okay? But there's something going on here, because if I look at the results, I'm getting $700,000 houses and $200,000 to $250,000 houses. There's something to miss here. So one of the things we'll do is change our criteria to add in our square footage, 2,100 to 3,200 square feet. Look at our map now. Way different. Okay, so now I have limited my searches to what's in my comparable square footage because I had too much data. Okay. Next thing I'm going to take a look at on this is this was built in 1970. So I'm not going to look at any, if I have the option, I'm not going to look at anything over 1999 when they made a lot of major design changes. Went from 39 matches to 21 matches. Okay, I'm still in the ball game here. So I'm looking at all this area here, and I can see that a lot of my other properties have gone away. As I scroll in, make sure you guys can see it. Next thing I'm looking at is the size of the lots. All these lots here seem pretty similar. But if I go over here, look how small this is. So if I click it, does that meet my house? Well, I don't know. So I'm going to take a Google Drive, 26203 Oakhurst Drive, Spring, Texas, 77386. It does not. Okay, so I know that this house is not comparable to that structure here. I'm not going to try to use that on the finishes when I'm looking at how to comp this property. Okay. So when I look at my results, I have a nice tight form of data set here. So I'm going to look at next the finishes of these properties. So there's not a lot of actives here. There's only one pending and a lot of sold. That tells me that this is low days on market area. That I know that this area seems to sell very quickly. Okay, so if I look at this 225 house, I can see that very dated, not a comparable for my ARV. You don't want to use those price per square foot ranges here. But over here, if I look at this one here, completely redone. This is the start of my comparable range for ARV. If I need to do quick math, I'll take my price per square foot and add them up. But I can see here, this is $300,000 to $400,000 range, depending on the size of the lot, which is important, the size of the house. But then I have 725 here. That's what we call a spike, okay? If I look at this one here, well, that doesn't seem, aha, this sold as commercial. This was a house, but this area doesn't have any problem with mixed use. They probably sold it to this developer here and sold it for a spike. I know as an investor, I can't use that as a comparable market. So look at anything that's much higher in the area so you don't get spikes. So if I look at one, so we'll start here at the 134 number. 134 plus 130 plus 118 plus 131 plus 128, 144, 135, 111, 144, 129, 142, 126, 141. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Divide by 13 puts me about a 131.76 price per square foot average at 2,650 square feet. That puts this property at about $350,000 ARV with those types of finishes. Okay? Always look at your finishes and what you have to do. So you do this kind of Google drive around the neighborhood. What does everything look like? All right, you got to make sure you match the finishes. So what we did was we came and found out how big our property is, what the lot size is, when was it built. Then we found out where is the property at, put our parameters in, and try to find out what's the most reasonable price per square foot on the finishes that dictate that market on value. Okay, so couple things that you always want to consider. You're like, well, I have access to MLS. I don't have access to MLS. Doesn't matter. Okay, having access to MLS makes you have a lot more data, but you may not have that access. So, one, either my advice is always hire an agent to help you with your comparables in the market, and then review that data as well. Okay, so say ask them to get you a comp package. Make sure that you hire that agent for the purchase and the sale of the property or the lease of the property. Start networking and get a good team of people that help you get a good agent and get you guys on board. If you guys are, you're trying to just comp yourself and you don't have access to MLS, use those still parameters and just kind of look on the realtor.coms and the Zillows and stuff like that. Don't use their Zestimate. Use your own comps. Try to figure out what properties have sold in the area, what they're going for. Some of them, even the actives. Sometimes even looking at the actives, what is everything listed for in that area? Can actually give you an idea of what's going on in the market. Now, is it as comfortable and firm as using sold data? No, it's not, but it's better than nothing. So if you can't do subdivision comps and you can't do street comps and stuff like that off of MLS, you can still get a good value by looking at major streets and landmarks, staying within that parameter, using 20% plus or minus a square footage of the actual structure. Then you can look at year built. For some reason, there's a couple things like, so for some reason, your property is in a bunch of area where there's a bunch of new construction. Well, you're not going to get new construction price per square foot. So usually you would deduct about 20% off of the average price per square foot in that developing area of less. Also, the other argument is if you're comping a property, and let's say your property is 4,000 square feet, okay, and everything else is 2,800 square feet, you cannot use a price per square foot determination for your 4,000 square foot property. What you would do is you'd find a good average of the area. So let's say the average of the area was $300,000. Well, let's use $400,000 because that's what the average price for home is right now in Houston. So it's $400,000, and they're 2,800 square foot properties. But your property is 4,000 square feet. So what you do is you get So you get 400,000 and you times about 20%. That's 80. The most of your property would probably be worth in that area is about 480,000 because the area would actually dictate the value of the property. So knowing that your property is probably not going to be worth $600,000 square foot on a price per square foot on the 4,000, it's going to be dictated to the terms of the area. Okay. So hopefully this helped get a good idea of how to look at properties. I know it was really quick. We could spend an actual entire day on how to comp properties because each one of them has their own little variables and their own little tricks about, is it on a major street? Is it near drainage? Is it adjacent to commercial? All these things, and we'll actually do a video on what increases and decreases values of property. So just stay tuned. I really hope you guys are enjoying this education. Hopefully it's helping, and see if we can help you even more. If you're having issues comping a property, send it over our way. We will comp everything for free. We'll let you know what we're seeing in the market. We do it for everybody as much as they need. If you need a pre-approval letter for it, no problem. But if you're like, I just don't know, send it over. We'll tell you what we think. We've loaned over $400 million in assets. We've done over 3,400 transactions. We have a good idea what's going on in Texas. So if you guys have problems, you're not quite sure if you pull the trigger on it, you're not quite sure if you comped it right, you're getting something from a listing person that says, hey, I think it's worth this. You're like, that doesn't seem right. Let us know. We'll take a look for you and let you know if you're doing well, you're on mark for your profit estimates and things like that. Well, until next time, I hope everything goes well for you today. I hope you guys are out there investing. If you need anything, give us a call, give us a text, email us, chat us on Facebook or on our website. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube page and our Facebook site. And we hope to give you more and more content to help your business grow and develop. Well, I will be on again tomorrow to help you guys out, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.